Like I said yesterday, there should be 3 chapters left at this point, so... maybe I can finish this in reasonable time still. If I stream this more tomorrow, but I guess we'll see. Just hope I'm not settling in for another 3-hour chapter right now. That's gonna be annoying. Howling. I mean, I guess they have to get rid of the sis now, and that's about it, right? I really don't know what... Like, we've kind of been stuck in slice of life hell with this since after that whole amusement park affair. I literally didn't click on that. There we go. But alright, get yourself a drink. Or fall asleep, maybe? I don't know. Still a bunch of characters, like I said yesterday, there's still a bunch of characters that we haven't seen yet, so I'm not sure what's up with those. Right, alright. Does everything else start like any other? The morning sun alerted surgery that the day of work lay ahead. Specifically the gardens needed tending to, and an unkept garden made for an unhappy Sojiro. Luckily today was a day off from all his part-time jobs. It was a perfect opportunity to get his hands dirty. Oh boy, gardening time. There was one problem, however. The measuring grounds were vast. Not only the courtyard had been left to run wild, but the area around the front door had been neglected too. To tend these problems thoroughly, you would have to work on them week in, week out. Alright, first let's level things out. In an ideal world, this task would only take a day, but for its enormity. For the moment, Sojiro decided to set foot in the mansion's wilderness and evict the weeds. Good old weeding. Wasting none of the early light, he started tackling the ones around the mansion. By his estimation, he could clear the forecourt, courtyard, and backyard, and then take a small rest. Until Owls interrupted him. What's going on to him?
さあ、草摘みが趣味ってわけじゃなさそうだけど。
Beats me, and Deputy's out for fun. We're just before the noon in the sunroom. Alice had come down, book in hand, to find Aoka sitting down with the fashion magazine and elegantly sipping tea. Through the window, she could see the crouched figure of Sojiro shuffling by.
朝からやってるみたいよ。
He's been at it all morning.
起きてカーテンを開けたら、もうあの格好でスパスパやってたから。ついでに焼却炉の掃除も言いつけといたけど、いいでしょ?
Hunched over since I saw him first thing from my bedroom window. I told him to clean the incinerator too. Any objections?
いいけど、頑張るのね彼。外はあんなにも寒いのに。
Not really. He always works so hard, even in the cold. Alice quietly sat down. A teacup had been placed on the table for her. She poured herself some tea and proceeded to open the book. You know, this is all very lucky-go-happy considering what happened the previous night. The two sat passing the time in silence. Having happened to have the same idea, a nice relaxing cup of tea in her sunroom. With the evening was decided, there was no need for idle chatter. Aoka sat out of the window, intermittently turning against to her magazine. Alice was immersed in a book on a rune-mage craft, occasionally tilting her head up as if to recall something. As if by unspoken agreement, in unison they pressed their teacups to their lips and glanced outside. To the two girls, Sojiro appeared as if he were an animal in a zoo. Neither was interested in lending a hand. Despite his sluggish movement, he was making good progress. As Aoka's attention turned back to the sunroom, her eyes met Alice's. Alice returned to gaze through her book, though moments later she raised her head again. I wonder if he's going that fast. Speed! Huh. Clearing her throat, she attempted to focus on reading. It was no surprise that Alice admired Sojuro's diligence. Not even 30 minutes had passed before it had cleaned the courtyard of unsightly weeds. Without stopping once, the mysterious gardener left the courtyard, puffing up clouds of white breath. The area left behind was spotless. Has he done this before? Aoko muttered after scanning over his work. A stalwart Sojuro working confidently and ceaselessly. She was impressed, like she was watching a scene from a great movie, but before long she grew irked. Why would he waste his energy like that, she thought. Alice looked at the clock. If he starts now, it will be evening before he's done with the incinerator. Actually, he already took care of it. I watched him do it from upstairs. I didn't want him making it, so I gave him some pointers. You know, I yelled at him for so long from my window, my room almost froze over. It was safe to assume Aoko had come to the sunroom to escape a cold room. Between barking orders from a window and cleaning in the cold, it was clear we had the harder job. Did Shizuki have anything to say? Yeah, a lot, but I couldn't really hear it. In other words, his complaints fell on deaf ears. Poor guy. With nothing else to discuss, the two resumed their reading. The ever so tense silence was broken by Sojuro, entering the house after finishing his cleaning. He stared at the two of them, displeased. Warm enough in here, Aozaki? Warmer than outside, unless you're walking the horse. What made you decide to take care of the gardens anyway? Sojuro's subtle jibe had failed to find his target. He had no chance of winning, and so he just hung his shoulders in defeat. It's so cold out today. Snow is probably going to fall tomorrow, so I thought I should tidy up while I could. Didn't think I have to work on the incinerator too. He sounded resentful, but his problem was not with the additional work. If anything, he was glad to do it. What he did not care for was how nobody had even bothered to lend a hand. So what? We all need to use it. Hey, seeing as you're in a generous mood, vacuum the upstairs corridor, will you? Oh, and it breaks through the beech tree outside out back is on its last legs. Put the toolbox in your room in the attic to good use. And when you're done with that, come to my room. I have a bunch of things I'd like you to throw in the incinerator. That's why she made him clean the incinerator. Cruel but clever. And what are you going to do while I'm doing all that? No plans really. Maybe I'll play a little guitar. Aoko thought hard about how to spend her afternoon. Yet the thought of cleaning did not cross her mind, as has always been the case. No, it was not out of spite that she did not think to help him clean. It was because the word cleaning was not in the vocabulary. I see. Soju knew exactly why the mansion was in the state it was in. Still did not change the fact that the corridor upstairs was very long. And Aoko was not lying about how cold it was inside. It was not much different than outside. You really have no intention of helping me, do you? I mean, I do enjoy cleaning, but I don't know.
一緒に住んでる人間をそこまでこき使って両親は痛まないか？それとも割と気づいてはいたけど両親そのものがないのか？
Don't you feel even a little bit guilty about using a roommate like this? Or do you just do not feel guilt at all? As usual, you might have gone too far. His remarks had hit too close, though. I would go close to the magazine and turn to face him. Infuriated, she glared, with sharp blue eyes piercing into him. Sojiro had not said anything unjust, but he always backed down first.
Sojiro, 何度も言うようだけど。
Sojiro, let me explain it one more time. Welcome back, Zaza. Okay. He replied automatically, straightening his back in response to Aoko's cold, calm tone.
勘違いはしないで。私たちはあんたを同居させてあげてるんじゃない。
Don't be mistaken. I'm not letting you stay here out of kindness.
これ以上ないって譲歩の末、仕方なく飼ってあげてるだけなんだからね。
We're putting up with you because we have to. Aoko did not mince her words. Sojiro nodded in defeat.
そうか。飼ってもらってるのか。
So, I'm basically a pet.
そう。番犬にもならないだろうけど。
Exactly, and a not very useful one at that. Aoko responded, already tired of the conversation. Though Sojiro had little room to counter, he still tried.
しかし一方、番犬は間違っても自分の食い縁を入れたり、天津さえ家賃を払ったりしないのも事実であった。
And last time I checked, most pets don't have to buy food or pay rent.
なんか言った？
Did you say something?
いや、負け犬の遠吠えを少しばかり。
Nothing. I'm just a dumb mud barking up the wrong tree. He raised his hand dismissively, knowing he could not win. To Aoko's ears, his attempted self-deprecation sounded facetious.
Sojiro, あんた、本当にわかってる？
You do understand the position you're in, right?
そうだな。君たちがどうあっても掃除をする気がないぐらいはなんとか。
Yeah, one where I do all the work. Aoko granted a pet's obedience. That's more than a grin, come on now. As long as he knew his place, that was all that mattered to her. She seemed to be extremely satisfied with his response.
余裕あるんだ、しずきくんってば。
This remains a great face. Huh, you don't have a care in the world, do you? Her playful smile darkened, so as did Sojiro's expression.
青崎、なんだか息ができないんだけど。
No, Misaki, I can't breathe.
このまま放っておくと、そんなことも言ってられなくなるんだけど、試してみる？
You know, if I keep this up, you'll never be able to complain again. Shall we give it a try? He shook his head, his expression growing more and more grim.
賢明ね。私も窒息したいなんて見たくないもの。
Smart choice, I don't want to see you suffocate if I can help it. There's a cracking noise in the sound as a game microphone fine. Huh? It's not the rain outside that you're hearing, right? I mean, I didn't really change anything since yesterday, so the microphone settings should be fine. Huh. When the grating sound subsided, Sojiro gingerly touched his throat. The collar that had suddenly tightened around his neck returned to its normal size.
気管が塞がれた時の苦しさを知らないんだろう、青崎は。本当に抵抗できなくなるんだぞ、あれは。
Do you have any idea how painful it is to suffocate? It's excruciating.
だからそのための首輪だって言ったでしょ？
I told you that's what your collar was for.
今まで実践したことなかったし、あんたは相変わらず危機感ないし、ここらで一度しつけておいたの。
You're always so naive, so I took the opportunity to give it a test run. Now you know your place.
それより掃除、急がないと日が暮れるんじゃないの？
Anyway, chores. You're wasting daylight.
わかったよ。
Okay.
結局、今日はこうなる星の運びだったんだ。
So that's what the sun was trying to tell me this morning. Sojiro left the sunroom, his shoulder slumped and still between his legs. Aoko watched him leave before turning to a magazine as if nothing had happened. Alice paid no attention, none of that had anything to do with her. With Sojiro gone, the room once again fell silent. As the clock ticked on, Alice suddenly stopped flipping through her book.
ねえ、どうして彼を酷使するの？
Any reason why you push him so hard? She asked as though talking to herself. Aoko replied without much as looking up.
別に最後には記憶を消させてもらうんだから楽しかったら困るじゃない。
Nope. We're just going to erase his memories in the end anyway. Why get his hopes up? Obscure as ever, but sincere in their own way.
そう言われてみればそうだったわね。
When you put it like that, then I suppose you're right. Alice could not believe she had forgotten to say about the situation. Silently, she looked up from her book and gazed outside once again. The courtyard through the window reminded her of where she lived a decade ago. Nothing could compare to the beauty of those gardens. But if that were the case, then why did the scenery make it feel nostalgic? Alice Sojiro had almost taken care of the gardens with the goodness of his own heart. In only half a day he had achieved so much. It was Christmas Eve and snow had started to fall. Squambus. Well, I guess it ties back into the discussion we had earlier on stream, huh? His timing was too good, as though it has waited for the day specifically. The cold, bustling main street seemed bright and vibrant in a layer of frosty white. Reindeer statues illuminated the surroundings. Children danced merrily to jingle bells. People walked along the brick road, smiling broadly. These festivities, however, had not reached the mansion on the hill. Silence enveloped the isolated building. The shadow of the snow-covered woodland grew longer, beckoning in the darkness. People returned to the warmth of their homes, knowing a bitter night lay ahead. Something had been amiss in the mansion all day. Perhaps it was the calm before the storm. 2 days had passed since Toko Ozaki had revealed itself. Aoko and Alice spent more and more time locked into their rooms. Mealtimes had grown noticeably quieter. With the roles decided, they were too busy with their own jobs to worry about each other. On this day, the two had been relaxing in the drawing room since morning. The mood was calm. Well, mostly at least. Sojiro was fretting that tonight would be the same.
雪が明日ならよかったのに。
The snow couldn't just wait until tomorrow, could it? He aimed his words toward the girls on the sofa. Despite knowing they would be ignored. Whether the snow fell today, tomorrow, or not at all, it did not affect them. The snow just meant a white Christmas. You know how rare those are these days? I don't think I've ever seen snow on Christmas, actually, now I think about it. It's kind of depressing, really. Aoko remained silent. She wasn't ignoring him per se, she just had other things on her mind. Sojiro knew this, but she still cast a lonely glance out on the sunroom. The courtyard that cleaned only a few days ago was now hidden by a layer of white. The falling snow would stop every so often, but then resume again as if teasing Sojiro. But the next morning the courtyard would be a winter wonderland. Aoko and Alice sipped tea in an effort to fight the cold. In fact, it was all they were doing.
そういえば、トウコさんの髪の色は青崎より濃かったね。
Was it red? Could have
あ
sworn
ん
it
な
was
綺麗
brown.
な赤毛は初めて見た。短くしてるのはもったいなかったな。
You know, Toko's hair was darker than yours, Ozaki. I've never seen such a beautiful red hair. Shame it was so short. Sojiro rambled on, not expecting a response. However,
短かったって姉
she's
貴の
brown
髪
hair. You can't tell me that's red. Oh, I call her blind hair. Her hair was cut short. Aoko's expression went from nonchalant to its useless sharpness.
それどういうこと？短くしてるって髪の毛のことよね。
What do you mean short? You're talking about her hair, right?
ああ、アリスより短かったけど、それがどうしたんだ？
Yeah, even shorter than Alice's. Is it a big deal?
別にあの人前は私より長かったってだけ。
No, she just used to have longer hair than mine.
そう、あの髪を切ったのね。
So she really cut it all off. Aoko spoke in a grave tone. Showing slight interest, Alice turned to Sojiro.
普通じゃないな。髪を切ったぐらいでどうしたんだ一体。トウコさんの髪が短いと青崎が困るのか？
Magical energy is stored in the hair length, I guess. What is so bad about her getting a haircut? Does it affect you in any way, Ozaki?
まあその通りだけど。
Well, yeah, it does.
いいわ。どうせ夜まで暇だし、説明ぐらいはしてあげる。
As we have nothing to do until nightfall, I suppose I'll explain.
あんたがそんなこと言わなければ、未知数のままトウコと戦う羽目になっただろうし。
You're lucky. If you hadn't said anything, we'd have been oblivious when fighting her. Haruko knowingly glanced at Alice, her expression suggesting she was treating her. She was also likely seeking approval. Alice remained stoic as ever, her expression showing neither approval nor disapproval.
簡単に言うと、魔術師にとっては髪の毛も武器ってことよ。
How can I put this? Mages can use their hair as a weapon.
昔から人間の髪や目は魔術の材料になりやすいの。女の場合はことさらにね。
For the longest time, hair and eyes have been vital to magecraft, especially in my sister's case.
瞳の色は多いほどいいし、髪も長いほど質がいい。
The more colorful the eyes, the better. The longer the hair, the higher the quality.
髪の毛は自身と同一視しやすいし、長い年月をかけて育てられる原始的で強力な原料と思ってくれていいわ。
Hair has the same qualities as the body, and when grown over many years, it becomes a strong base component.
私が髪を伸ばしてるのはまあそういうこと。手入れが大変なんだけど、そこは女だから半分趣味みたいなもんよね。
That's why I'm growing mine out. Looking after it is a pain sometimes, but I like styling it. Soju glanced furtively at Alice, wondering if the same held true for her. Maybe Alice had good at it because it was a hassle to maintain. It sounded stupid, but then again this was Alice. Soju nodded to himself.
じゃあ青崎としてはいいことじゃないか。
So that's good for you then, right, Awazaki?
瞳子さんの髪短いんだから。
I mean, Itoko's got short hair.
それがここに来る前に使い切ったものならいいんだけど、
If she used all her hair before coming here, then yes.
伸ばした髪にはいろいろと使い道があるのよ。
Long hair can be used in tons of ways.
私は瞬間的な術の強化にしか使えないけど、姉貴だったら高級的な術の補佐に使うはず。
I can only use it to temporarily reinforce magecraft, but my sister can use it to complement longer-lasting spells.
年月と想念を蓄えた髪は魔術師の分身とも言える。
With all those thoughts and memories in that house, like having a mage clone.
そういったものをね、死んじゃった犬だの猫だのを反言させるときに与えると、術者に服従する使い魔が出来上がるの。
You can even use it on a dead dog or cat, reviving them and making them the mage's familiar.
生前魔力のなかった使い魔。例えば猫とか犬ね。これらは術者の髪を取り込んで独自の魔術回路を得る。
Familiars with no previous magical energy, like said dog or cat, can acquire magical circuits, all thanks to the hair.
申請することで全く違う生き物、猫の魔術師になるってこと。例えば人語を介したり人間に化けてみたりって。
The reanimated creature becomes something entirely different. They can even speak and take human
行
form.
動原理も変わってしまって、大抵は術者に似通った性格になるわ。そうよね、アリス。
Their behavior changes too, to something resembling a regular mace. Right, Alice? The last words came out with a mocking smile. Alice silently ignored it.
じゃあ瞳子さんにはアリスのみたいな使い
Yeah,
魔
all
が。
those damn dolls, I imagine. So Toko has familiars like Alice?
そう見るのが妥当でしょうね。
I think that's a safe bet.
姉貴は20年以上伸ばし続けた髪と引き換えに強力な使い魔を用意したってことよ。
She must have been growing her hair for over 20 years. She could have an army of powerful familiars. Fight at amusement park. Just a thought of Alice going to releasing flat snarks and shivered on Soju's spine. The Yell of the Moon had been a unique familiar out of this world.
ほら、そこ心配しない。岬町をぶっ壊す規模の使い魔なんてありっこないから。
Hey, don't worry about it. She couldn't create a familiar that could destroy Misaki or
確か
anything.
に長く歴史のある髪を使用するほど強力な使い魔が出来上がる。
Still, a familiar created with hair that long would be incredibly
け
powerful.
ど、髪を使った魔術師はそれまで溜め込んできた山中のうちの一つを初めからやり直さないといけない。
Mages that use their hand though, they need to reset one of the 3 pillars from the beginning. Oh, would you look at that?
切った髪はまた伸ばさないといけないでしょ。使い魔を作るのは簡単だけど、そう多く従えないのはそういうことなの。
I like how that message is slowly getting more unreadable because of all the gibberish that's being put in. I'll report to them. Sure, get blocked. You have to go there again. Making familiars is easier, but not leading them. As Haruko spoke, her mood visibly improved, as though she had made a breakthrough.
犬とか猫。
Dogs and cats. Still thing is hard to decide. You could not imagine a world where dogs and cats were so powerful.
変ね。
It's strange.
瞳子さんは人形師よ。スカイマを作って自分のレベルを下げるのはどうなのかしら。
Toko is a puppet master. I wonder why she will lower herself to make familiars.
協力者がいないだけでしょう。青崎のお家騒動に人の手を借りたくないから自分だけで全部やるつもりなのよ。
She probably has nobody to help her, and she wouldn't ask for assistance with a personal matter concerning this family.
もしかして遊園地の人形って姉貴の紙で作られたんじゃないだろうな。
Actually, maybe the puppet at the amusement park wasn't made from her hair.
確かに話に聞いた限りだと特注品ね。
Now that you mention it, he did say that it seemed highly customized.
呪いによる永久期間、両手のギミック、フィンの一撃、執念深さ。瞳子さんでもゼロから作るのは難しいでしょうけど。
Its curves-based perpetual motion, coral arms, fin shot, the depth of its obsession. It's unlikely Toko created the puppet from scratch.
けど何をアリス。
Meaning?
あの人は人形に自己を投影するような人じゃないわ。
Toko is not the type to put herself into her creations.
完璧な偽物なら許すけど、偽物に過ぎない偽物は容赦なく壊してきた。
She might consider doing it for a perfect replica, but the ones we destroyed weren't even faint copies of her.
青子から見て、その特注人形は瞳子さんと同じ力量を持っていた。
Argo, did that puppet have the same power as Toko?
まさか遠く及ばないわよ、あんなの。
No way, not even close.
なら瞳子さんの髪とあの人形は別件よ。
Then it would not have been made using her hair.
あの人が自分の魔力を分け与えたほどの使い魔があと一体はいると見るべきね。
Meaning we have to keep our eyes open for familiar fused with the magical energy.
専門家としての意見。
So in your expert opinion,
つまりその使い魔は姉貴より強い。
you think that the familiar could be stronger than my sister herself?
そうでないと意味がないわ。
If not, then what's the point of creating one?
人手が足りないというのもあるでしょうけど。だって私たちは二人、彼女は一人だもの。
She needs help. It's two of us versus one of her.
同時制圧も想定済みってわけ。
So she's going to attack with the familiar at the same
なる
time.
ほどね。その場合、どっちが強い方を引き当てても恨みっこなしよ、アリス。
And that makes sense. It would at least be a fair fight.
ま、こと使いまであんたが遅れを取るとは思えないけど。
Well, fair. When it comes to familiars, I think you have the upper hand. Elsa had never been defeated by a familiar. She cited Aoka's
青
overconfidence.
子、たとえ20年間の蓄えを付与したとしても、その器が小動物では限度があるわ。
Aoko, even if she utilizes a 20-year stockpile, she can only use small animals as
あの
vessels.
瞳子さんが切り札になる使い魔を用意したのなら、
If Toko was
そ
prepared
れ
to,
は
if Toko was to prepare a familiar as a trump card,
よしてよ。
don't you say it.
いくらなんでも姉貴はそこまで悪趣味じゃないわ。
No sister of mine would stoop that low. Aoka and El stared at each other. The conversation had returned to the drawing room, but the subject matter was not for the faint of heart.
そうね。けれど、人間を追い詰めるのに最も効果的な相手は、
I
やっぱり
suppose.
人間なのよ。
I suppose. Still, nothing has done a human better than a human.
瞳子さんが死者を亡者にしていなくても、それと同格の相手がいるぐらいは覚悟しておいて。
Toko may have not raised the dead, but she probably still has something just as powerful up her sleeve.
はいはい、わかったわよ。確かに天才ってやつは空気読めないから。どんな生き物の死体を用意してきても驚かないわ。
Yeah, okay. I admit geniuses get stuck in their own world sometimes. Whatever corpse she throws at me, I'll be ready. Aoko nodded reluctantly at Alice's directness. Needless to say, Soichiro was completely lost.
そのよくわからないけど、
I don't quite follow.
なんで青崎たちは死んでるってことに固執するんだ？
Why are you
生
both
きてるもの
convinced?
じゃダメなのか？
Why are you both convinced that the familiar is dead?
それは使い魔じゃなくて協力者でしょ。使い魔は基本、術者なくしては生きられないものにしないと。
Because living partners aren't familiars, they're co-conspirators. Familiars can't live with a mate to sustain them.
それでいて優れた意志を持ち、術者の資格や盲点を補える知性もある。それが一流の使い魔の条件よ。
Still, they're the perfect foil. Strong-willed and smart enough to compensate for their major shortcomings. Everything you'd want from a great familiar.
正直な話、それだけ都合のいいやつは死から作り直すしかないってわけ。
Let's be real, who wouldn't want to bring that kind of partner back to life? Completely obedient and capable of compensating for the major's weakness. Soju felt the familiar was a little different than himself.
さて、
Now then,
姉貴は昔からルーン使いだったから戦術は予測できる。
my sister has always been a rune user, so we can somewhat predict her tactics.
問題の切り札もどうやら使い魔らしい。
A trump card which we need to be worried about is probably familiar.
自動人形もさすがにこの前で使い切っただろうし。
And it's likely she used up all of her automata already. Helga spoke directly to Alice, looking for confirmation. Alice nodded in agreement.
じゃあ予定通り今日で終わりにしよう。
So, we stick to the plan. Let's call it a night.
この1ヶ月好き放題やられた借りギッタンギッタンにしてあのバカ兄貴に返してやる。
I'm going to make her pay for all the crap she spit us through the last month. Helga clenched her teeth and balled her fist. It all seemed like nothing more than sibling rivalry. In fact, that's probably all it was. Looking at Oko, Soju let out a sigh of relief. With what happened with Toko and how they reacted to her visit, the atmosphere be deadly tense. For now, though, Oko seemed much calmer. He took comfort in the thought that perhaps the sisters would just bury the hatchet. Even if Oko and Toko were not sisters, they wouldn't want to see what would happen if they fought. He would not want to see what happened if they fought. The hands of the clock turned gently, approaching the judgment night, and merciless silence would soon come to mock Soju's complacency. As night appeared, two things vanished. The first was a whimsical snowfall. The second was the lights of the mansion on top of the hill. However, and Alice were nowhere to be seen inside. Only Soju remained. It was the night of Christmas Eve. Though Hulk and Alice had yet to find Toko, he knew everything would be concluded over the course of this day and the next. Christmas comes but once a year. It was a singular time for endings and new beginnings. In Japan, the modern holiday dated back to only about 100 years, and celebrated Christ's birth only in name with its later day trappings. It was neither a pure homage nor corruption that the festival inspired it. Regardless, it was a significant increase in the land's manner during festivals. Such charged sources were a boon to a mage's craft, be it creative or destructive. Toko Ozaki sought to destroy the local sigils, which gathered and properly cycled the magical energy of the land and its people. Soju was able to get a damage from Oko and Alice's conversation. Toko had already claimed 3 sigils. Only 2 remained. Any further loss would signal Oko and Alice's defeat. In order to protect the remaining ones, they had to split up. Oko lacked power, so she would need to borrow a ploy from Alice and head to the Tokawa sigil, which boasted the greatest local energy supply. Alice would go fully equipped to the sigil in Yashirogi. Not Gori. Free from the constraints of civilized society, magecraft is most powerful at midnight. The young witch and apprentice mage wish each other luck before leaving the mansion. It was almost 10 at night. After the girls went out, the first 2 hours passed quickly. When Oko was ready to head off, Soju walked with her to the foyer. Neither had spoken a word to each other. She had departed without showing any signs of fear. It was difficult to tell whether she did want to get him involved, or whether she did not want to see him a worthy ally in combat. Take a drink here. The thought stuck with him. He let out a long sigh, not out of dejection or frustration. It was a mechanical and motionless breath. He sat on the near-frozen floor, staring vacantly up at the night sky. Moonlight peeked through the clouds. He imagined the moonlight bouncing off the town's powdery blanket and illuminating the night. But he would not find himself downtown. Watching from the sidelines was his role to begin with. His roommates and he lived worlds apart. He could not keep up with them, and if he did not show the same kind of will, he would remain on the sidelines. However, I get it. I'm not needed anymore. Soju looked up at the moon. The real moon this time. Somewhere deep inside he felt a trickle of sadness. Veiled in white and cloaked in darkness, the park seemed like a forgotten memory. Not a soul was in sight. The night felt far more enigmatic as usual, yet the air was clean enough to drink. What do you mean drink? You don't drink air, come on now. There was only a sliver of moonlight bit through the clouds that lit up the entire world. In those moments a young girl's footstep echoed, trampling the still white silence under a midnight sun. The pale moon illuminated the inky blue sky. Only a few streetlights and an incongruous phone booth betrayed signs of civilization. A girl appeared, dressed in black. Against the snowy landscape, the figure of Alice Conjure was unmistakable. Pure black, deeper than even the night. Where her overcoat, gloves, and hat, even her hair and eyes. Nothing stirred for a time. Not Alice, nor the white scenery. The world was a still painting of a snowy field. Only time moved, gradually darkening the lights in the park, and eventually the nearby homes as well. Yashirogi was a more modern and developed town than Misaki. Though the park was located in the center of the town, it had become a blind spot. It had been overlooked by the developers and carried no commercial value. A few houses encircled the park, the streetlights turned off at midnight. It was a white night. People even machines were fast asleep.
私が先なのね。
Looks like I got there early. Alice whispered, watching the streetlights slowly fade. She thought she had heard a dog howling in the distance. Perhaps it was howling at the moon. The howl reached deeper into the night than expected. A wolf, maybe. The phone rang. It was perhaps the first time it had rung since Soju moved into the mansion. Is that a typo? Assistantly, he picked up the receiver and brought it to his ear. He heard nothing. He felt he had to say something, but he could not think what. Maybe something like, hello, Konji residence? Or maybe, you've reached Ozaki residence. While he was deep in thought, a voice as light as air came through the receiver.
Shizuki.
Shizuki? Soju could barely hear the voice, but it was definitely Alice's.
そうだけど、アリス。
Yes, is it you, Alice? No response. The silence was as profound as the night. But for the sound of the static from the receiver. After a long pause, Alice finally spoke. Is Oko there?
いや、まだ帰ってないけど。
No, she hasn't come back yet. I see. With a click, the call ended. Soju wondered if she had something to say, but could not respond in time. Slowly they advanced, covering through the fresh snow. There were so many, where did they all come from? Dozens of feral dogs snared at Alice, their eyes straight up. All eyes straight on her. The snow clung to the beach mangy fur. Their clenched fangs and bloodshot eyes had barely rained hunger that might burst forth from lightning at any moment. I'm sorry, chat, I'm being distracted by Mario. Okay. Okay. They yearned to taste her warm flesh and satiate their empty bellies. To them the girl in black stood like a lighthouse in a stormy sea. She watched him, disinterested. It appeared that the Yashirogi sigil was the key target tonight, and Tokawa where Oko had gone. Else had always been unflappable, and the child's play before was hardly about to change that. Her main enemy was not the dog surrounding her, but the lone mage behind her, Tokawa Ozaki.
ひどい趣味。ここ数年で品が落ちたの。
What hideous taste! This is what you've fallen to after these last several years.
まあ、それならそれで嬉しいけど。これが地金なら、青崎との付き合いもいよいよ白紙に戻せるわ。
Not that I'm complaining. If this is where you really are, then Naozaki can have nothing to worry about. Toko laughed at the acerbic taunt.
いやいや、これは不可抗力でね。
My, she's a movable spirit.
安心しろ、アリス。間違っても私の趣味じゃない。
Rest assured, Alice, I'm not doing this for fun. Crunching through the fallen snow, Toko slowly came into view. She wore a moss green coat that contrasted sharply with Alice's garb. A silk scarf warmed her neck. She stood tall, her hair short, striking more valiant posture than any young man. After all, the two standing here needed to be less like the shining moon, and more like the darkness surrounding it. The barking abated. Like servants in the royal court, they averted their eyes from the ruler. This horizon has to be plucked out.
久しぶりだね、アリス。
It's been too long, Alice.
瞳子さんもお元気そうで。
It has. You look well, Toko. They stood about 12 feet apart. No love had been lost between them. Just two enemies. One who was about to be victorious, and one who was about to fall.
さて、どうしようか、アリス。
So, how shall we do this, Alice?
積もる話もある。君の近況にも興味がある。そもそも今回の件についていろいろと説明したくてたまらない。
We have so much to catch up on. How have you been? There's so much I've been dying to tell you.
5分ほど時間を割いても構わないか？
You can spare 5 minutes to chat, can't you?
お断りよ。あなたと5分も話をしていたら、その隙に内臓まで売却されそう。
I'm afraid not. If I even give you the slightest quarter, you'll steal it all. The following events unfolded quickly. Boldly and without a second thought, Alice pulled out a cat's bell from the seam of her mantle and dropped it. Diddle diddle, the beginning of Alice Scourge's magecraft, the start of a night about fairy tales. Our cook favored a quick drawn approach like something from a western. However, Alice preferred sleight of hand. She used the target's blind spots against them, ending the game before they knew it had begun. The bell fell like a coin into a fountain. Oh, it's broken. Then as it was about to strike the ground, it shattered, disappearing without a trace.
ルーン、
Runes.
ああ、一日かけて公園中に刻ませてもらった。
Correct. I spent a day carving chapters into the
こ
park.
の公園の道はレンガだからね。手間こそかかったが簡単な仕事だった。
The brick path meant it was easy work, if a little time consuming.
周りの森まで見て、ざっと400平米のキャンバスだ。
Look at the woods around here. Roughly 1,200 square foot of blank canvas.
面白いだろ？
Impressive, isn't it?
今私たちは30万字以上のルーンの上にいる。
Right now, you and I are right on top of 300,000 characters worth of runes. Swallowing hard, Alice took a step back. Toko had carved runes all over the ground. Even in the area Diddle reacted to alone, there was a depressing amount of them. Had she truly carved them into the wall park? Alice did not react with surprise, she simply narrowed her eyes. She could see how it would have taken her all day. It was no wonder Diddle, banquet of the night, was destroyed by the skin of sun. Still, something bothered Alice.
一体どうやって隠していたの？
How in the world did she hide them all? There were just so many. What kind of magecraft could do that?
ああ、ちょっと特別性。
Oh, these are special.
このルーンね、普段は確定していないんだ。こうしている今も変形している。パッと見はただの傷跡。それが強い魔力に触れると元の形に立ち戻る。形状記憶ルーンとでも言おうかな。
These runes shift location. They're doing it even now. They look like simple scratches, but they return to their original form and they touch strong magical energy. You could call them memory runes.
そんなわけで、いかなる夜の深さをもってしても、この太陽は没しない。
No
こ
matter
の
how...
通り、雪が降ってくれたおかげで、視覚的なごまかしも万全だったしね。
No matter how deep the night, these little suns won't set, and the snow hid them beautifully. She spoke modestly, but Alice could not imagine the amount of persistence, technique and skill it must have taken. And it only took a day. Even 10 mages would have trouble producing so many sophisticated runes in that time. Moreover, these runes were made using unknown techniques the association had not approved.
負け惜しみだけど、
It pains me to admit it, Toko,
私みたいな小娘一人に大人げないわね、瞳子さん。
but that's a lot of power to use on one poor little girl.
バカを言うな。君を小娘だなんて一度も思ったことはないよ。
Oh please, I never thought that about you.
まあ、私好みの体だと眠めつけることはあったがね。
No, there were times when I admired the body of yours, to have one like that. It happened in the blink of an eye. Alice cut off Toko's snide remark with a deadly stare. The left eye of the darkly clad girl changed the color to an ominous ruby. The speed of the incantation was phenomenal. Alice's mystic eyes of enthralling snapped Toko. She had been the one to quite literally be taken captive by the girl's stare. Toko tried to raise her arm but couldn't even move a finger. Alice's mystic eyes commanded a subtle control with no room for resistance. Only a person's internal organs were allowed the freedom to move. Since her organs still functioned, it was more precise to say that her eyes forbid the target from acting. Alice had played her hand with exquisite timing. It wasn't the speed of her eye that had given her an edge. The deftness which she moved her spells to exploit the briefest vulnerabilities what made Alice a different caliber to other mages like Oko. This witch, who lived hidden in the modern era, was more seasoned in magical battles than Toko Awazaki.
だが残念。ディドルディドルが響かないのでは、魔眼のアクロスティック化はできないようだな。
Such a shame. Without it a little, your eyes can be made across stick.
惜しいね。あの月目のプロイキシャーなら、これで私の方はお手上げだったろうが。
You were close. With your moon boy Kickshaw, I might have been begging for mercy. The formation holding Toko began to distort. In the blink of an eye, the mage had bested Alice's mystic eyes. Alice's black outfit fluttered in the wind. She turned so she was not faking Toko head on. The mage had recovered to her own mystic eyes. Stumbling over words there. At the root of Toko's mystic eyes was the spell of Mesmerize. The most effective when facing their prey, such as eyes could mind-jack a target's awareness, it was difficult to resist head-on. However, its effect was greatly diminished if the target was not facing the eyes directly, even if it was within range. Moreover, the girl was the last witch of a lineage, who commanded a great number of fairy tales. I guess mystic eyes had projected their effects, simply turning one's body was enough to repel half of the magical energy. Like Alice's eyes, Toko's could also disable actions. Alice had escaped with the skin of her teeth. The damage she suffered was the weight of a twig in the forest. She just had to let the energy pass through. In an instant, the starting chill went through Alice's body. This was a problem. The touch of death ran up her spine. She glared at the mage before, as blue rubber balls flowed out from her She glared at the mage before, as blue rubber balls flowed out from beneath her overcoat. The stare-off grew more intense. Alice glared harder, resisting Toko's magic eye with her own. Losing was not an option. In terms of raw magical energy, Alice's conscious mystic eyes were more powerful and advanced than Toko's. Surely nobody could beat her. And yet, her unfiltered stock of magical energy stifled by old-fashioned values was no match for Toko's madness. Deeper within her eyes, somewhere the eyes revealed a sealed power. Inside the crystalline lens of the mage's left iris is a bottomless pit, a Klein cube. Alice winced in pain. The bindings grew in number. So many mystic eyes, 1,000 perhaps, were all fixed on Alice. Pressure, so much pressure. Endless, and Alice knew it. She saw. Incredulously, she saw the eyes growing within eyes. Toko had placed opposing mirrors inside of her eyes, resulting in an infinite glare. It was the act of a madwoman, creating mystic eyes within mystic eyes. She could even control the resulting chaos caused by all the copies. Her insanity knew no bounds. No mate in her right mind would mass-produce so many mystics. The last escaped from humankind so indiscriminately.
やれやれ。これもお気に召さないか。私なりにマインスターの真似事をしてみたつもりなんだが。
Oh dear, am I making you uncomfortable? Tell me, am I doing a good job of imitating a Meinster?
うまくできているだろう。
Aren't you impressed?
君のアクロのように希少な神秘で現実をねじ曲げるのではなく、量産した神秘で現実をねじ伏せる。
Instead of bending reality using a rare mystic like you would, I must produce a mystic to bend reality to my will.
もの自体はただの魔眼。だがその段数には果てがない。
On the surface are regular mystic eyes, only their volume is infinite.
相手がどれほどの魔力抵抗を持っていようと、それ以上の魔力で拘束するだけのものだ。
No matter how much magical energy an opponent uses to resist them, they will simply multiply the energy needed to bind them. She will have power without limit to disable an opponent. Once one was caught in them, one was changed to the concept of infinity. Projecting type eyes had a fatal flaw. The firepower and formula were insignificant compared to her greater retail of incantant spells, but Toko had torn down that conventional wisdom of her brute strength. The gun was a pea shooter, she simply needed to bring more guns. A 9mm bullet could never destroy a fortress, unless one threw a fortress's massive bullets at it. The principle was brutishly simple, but in the world of magecraft where concepts are deemed decided supremacy, Toku's iterative mystical eyes were the perfect weapon. The target would be bound until she closed her eyes. Inferiorly at last, the effects were infinite. No amount of magical energy could ever overcome it, so it was utterly futile to resist using magical energy. Look at how smug she is. Of course, one major counter to this was to stay out of Toku's line of sight to begin with. The standard tactic against Mystic Eyes was to defeat the user before they were aware of you. There was, however, another way. It was simpler than one might think.
ともあれ、これで罪だ。何か言い残すことは？
I'm afraid this is checkmate. Any last words? Else could no longer see your enemy. Toku's infinite eyes had bound her. All she could make out was a sliver of moonlight and a blue streak, tracing its way towards her. Fine, I wish I could say it, no regrets like you. She drew a ruin in the air, unleashing a shockwave to tear flesh asunder. The gust became blades of air that shredded Alice's overcoat and minced. Blue feathers flitted all around. Toku felt something behind her and turned. 5 cat-shaped bells were torn at her feet. And just as quickly they shattered to pieces. Standing before her was a completely unharmed Alice Konji.
そよ風みたいなルーンね。トウコさん、本当に鈍った。
That rune was but a light breeze. Have we really lost your touch, Toko?
うつせみか。術者の身代わりになるプロイの話は聞いてなかったな。
You used a double? I never heard of a ploy that can take a form of mage.
ええ。1年のうち365日は役立たずで。どうしてあんなのが古参なのか、私も疑問だけど。
Well, you have now.
殺されることだけは得意なのよ、彼。
I hate trying to do that. Well, you have now. He's useless every other day of the year, but it comes in handy when someone's trying to kill you. Bird up. As if responding to Alice's words, the bird began chirping frantically. An ominous sacrifice. Who killed Cock Robin? Echoed in the night, sang out of tune. Cock injure.
そんな歌もあったな。
Ah, that old rhyme.
だがあれは一度に1回しか殺されない。
But you can only kill it once.
2度目はないし、あったとしても。
Not that it would matter if it was more than that. The bird squawked a very unbird-like death throw. From behind Alice, the blue robin fell from a tree, a victim of Toku's mystic eyes.
本当に使えない。
So useless.
さて。ではやり直しだ。
How about you and I start over?
あとも使えている。これで終わりにしよう、アリス。ど
Or
の
rather,
道、この公園では手がないだろう。
or rather, let's end this now. You're out of options in this park.
そうでもないわ。
I don't think so.
確かに、今の私にあなたの魔眼は破れない。
Granted, I may not be able to break free of your eyes,
けれど。
but
Beauty of his wood and clay, wood and clay, wood and clay.
I know this tune.
Beauty of his wood and clay, my fair lady.
What? Wasn't it London Bridge comes falling down? The sun came from the depths of the earth, sending a mighty quake to mark the birth of something gargantuan. Toko needed to throw Alice into an infinite hell before whatever that was would be completed. But she was far too late.
The clay will wash away, falling down, falling down. Big love is big samura, my fair lady.
It's a nice golem you got there. The ground burst to life. A finger, then another, and another, all rising up like towers. Earth, snow, and brick knitted together, manifesting a giant stone golem. What the hell is this? What's this freak doing here? Toko was so angry and confused she could barely gather her thoughts. The bridge giant. The monster from the mainstream fairy tale rose from the ground, ruining Toko's plans. The giant was extremely powerful, but could only be summoned under one condition. It must be in proximity to a natural river. It was the monster's one and only condition. But this park was nowhere near one. And on top of that, it was rising up directly between Toko and Alice mid-battle. Oh. There is a river, alright. It's a sewer, isn't it? Something like that. Well, I suppose the river is a bit of an exaggeration, and it'll be gone soon. Toko lowered her gaze. She was standing in a puddle of water. The scarred red mage was dumbfounded. That's why Alice had used Dill Diddle before. While the bells could be replenished, they were valuable to Alice. And she had spent 5, throwing them in an intentional line for the sun runes to destroy. From there, a stream of melting snow. I mean, if melting snow can constitute as a river, that's using an advantage, I guess. The arms of the famous troll rose up from the stone paving. The monster's torso alone was past 80 feet. His form was made entirely of stone. Previously she had created one using the trees of a forest. However, Toko knew instantly the monster before was at least twice as powerful. Halt. She unleashed a stacked mystic eyes. They were meaningless at this stage, yet no effect on the giant. As said, mystic eyes can be countered in 2 ways. The first is to hide oneself from the view of the mage. That was the standard response. The other way, however, was definitely simple yet 100% effective. In fact, less of a way and more of a fact. Mystic eyes curse the target by focusing on them. However, what if the target were too large to focus on entirely? The answer was, one could barely stop a single arm. The giant, unfazed, raised its right arm and swung down onto the ground, destroying thousands of runes. I'm gonna do a little Yoda crush. The demolished stones were then absorbed into its arm, adding to its mass. As the mage had said before, no matter how deep the night these little suns once sat, while the suns might not set, they could be crushed under the bulk of the giant's hand. The victor of the battle was decided. Toko Misaki closed her eyes and prepared to escape. The stray dogs began to whine, fearful of the hulking figure before them. You win this one, Alice. Looks like I'm no match for a monster after all. Let's pick this up another time, shall we? Do you really think you can escape, Toko? Oh please, Alice, give me some credit. I should mention, I don't think I'm the one who needs to escape. There was no hint of bravado in Toko's tone. Even in the face of a titan, she had no means of harming, her confidence was unshakable. The reason being... The opening is over. Come out, Beo. This was no longer a battle of skill. A fight for survival had begun. Snap on Toko's fingers. He In response, a beautiful high-pitched melody floated up toward the moon. It echoed all around him. The spiral how dredged up in ancient primal memories. His source emerged from the shadows and landed next to the mage. Alice's lip trembled faintly, not from fear, but with admiration when she recognized the creature before her. It was a majestic golden beast, beyond the domain of both magical and phantasmal, simply divine. It was a life that should have passed from the world of the age of gods. A mystic derived from human wisdom, preserved by thousands of generations of hidden tradition. A recreation of a miracle that once freely walked the earth, the natural enemy of magecraft, able to crush it with ease. Quiet resignation settled over Alice's face. The golden beast charged. This time she didn't even have a chance to admit defeat. She could hear the beast breathing in her ear. It seems she had been unconscious for a short time. Alice opened her eyes and took a deep breath. Each cough sent pain shooting through her body. Blood rose from the pit of her stomach and she spat it on the cold ground. When the vision returned, she was able to make out the distant sky, falling snow and golden wolf. The wolf panted. He stared at Alice, saliva dripping from his mouth onto her cheek. He raised sharp fangs lining his jaw. His fur was glossier than one of any animal she'd ever seen. Brutal knife-like claws protruded from his massive blood-stained paws. And yet, it did not smell like a beast. Surely the presence of such a noble creature, a human would feel like a lesser animal. The battle between Alice and the wolf was over before it had begun. After destroying the troll, it baptized Alice with its wicked claws, giving her no chance to escape. His side swipe had torn into her abdomen like a sword, cutting through her clothes and flesh all the way to the heart. Even so, not once did Alice make a sound. The wolf had her pinned, staring at her face. Her limbs felt ready to break at any moment. It was a situation she found herself in. Now fully conscious, Alice sat at the enemy through pained eyes. She felt no fear, only cold reality sinking in. Sensing Alice's demeanor, the wolf suddenly paused, its paws still raised. They looked into each other's eyes. You're bleeding, doesn't it hurt? The wolf's voice came as a surprise. There was no doubt it had spoken. Or are you just fine with pain? The wolf's voice sounded innocent, almost childlike. In complete contrast to what had happened up to that point, the wolf smiled. Either way, you got guts, lady. The wolf opened his mouth wide and clamped his jaw around Alice's neck. Toko's stone was sharper than the wolf's fangs. The wolf froze. Miss Toko. He let go and slowly turned his head toward the voice. Didn't I tell you not to finish her off? Are you trying to make extra work for me, you mutt? But that's the best part. Well, this was a washout, and the troll went down like everything else. Talk about a disappointment. The wolf backed away from Alice, as if no longer interested in his prey. To the golden beast, she was a little more than an old chew toy. Conscious again? Even with all the blood loss and the broken bones? You're tough. Do we have the master training to thank? Barely clinging to life, Alice stared at Toko. But not a stare of hatred and defeat, but one of disbelief. Alice simply wondered why Toko had brought such a beast.
Ah,
pardon me. I should have introduced you. This is the last known werewolf on Earth. A pureblood, born to an indigenous tribe in northern European tundra. I'm not remembered of a few chapters ago where we saw this weird pale blonde kid. I guess that's the same the werewolf then, I guess?
見ての通り、先祖返りなんて言葉じゃ表せない黄金の神秘でね。名前がなかったんで、わかりやすくベオウルフと呼んでいる。
As you can see, he's a golden mystic, and it doesn't do him any justice to say he merely resembles his ancestors. He didn't have a name, so I called him Beowulf. Pretty apt, right?
ベオウルフ。
Beowulf? Alice's face was perplexed, and even though she hadn't waved when she was disemboweled. Beowulf, the name of the heroic giant slayer from the Danish legend. It came from Old English, a combination of honeybee and wild beast, a bear in other words.
なんでそんなちぐはぐな名前を。
Kind of an incongruous name.
いや、可愛いからに決まってるだろ。
What do you mean? It's cute. Perhaps because of the name, or perhaps because of the golden beast itself. Fighting the pain, Alice struggled to reach Toko. In this respect, she was worse than Oko.
ついでに説明しておくと、周りの犬どもはベオが勝手に呼び寄せたものだ。私自身、マインスターの娘がただの畜生に傷つけられるとは思ってはいないよ。
Incidentally, Beo calling these ultimates in. Naturally, I didn't think they would have any effect on the Meister's daughter.
今のところは。ね。
For now, at least. Togo's mouth twisted into a grin. Not the woman Sojourner saw, but a merciless smile affected his place to a loser. To disdain in Alice's eyes turned to anger. The golden mystic. How could Togo have brought such a creature into the human world?
何？需要と供給だよ。
Come now, it's just supply and demand.
過疎化は人間だけの問題じゃない。彼らもいい加減、昔ながらの生活には限界が来たらしくてね。話し合いの末、高額で私が買い取った。
Depopulation is not just a human problem. The world's ways were unsustainable, and so I bought him for a high
と
price.
言っても、あくまで里から出すだけの権利だがね。
Well, more like I had to pay for the right to bring him out of his cave.
お察しの通り、私の髪はベオとの契約に使い切った。自分の髪を使って分身を作るより、強大な怪物を縛り付けた方がよっぽど健全。
I was about to say, was the text cut off like that, As you might have guessed, I used my hair for the contract with Bio. I like to think of it as creating an alliance with a beast instead of creating a familiar. While she was talking, Toko noticed something strange. An unusual sound. A preternatural sound that toward the mind. A sound that should not have existed. And it was coming from the girl's open abdomen.
もう復元が始まったか。いや、というより。
Regenerating already? No, wait.
何この匂い。トウコさん、なんかワクワクすること起きてない？
What's that smell? It smells like something amazing is going to happen. Curious, Beowulf moved closer, like a puppy examining a new toy.
見るな、あっちに行っていろ、ベオ。正気を失っても知らんぞ。
Don't look at it. Stay over there, Beo. Point stuff to get him. Toko shooed him away with her hand. Beowulf lowered his head meekly and withdrew.
教育方針を間違ったかな。まったく、乙女の腹を見ようなんて恥を知れ、恥を。
I must have trained you wrong, going for a girl's belly like that, shaming you.
トウコさんだって見てるじゃない。
So, but how come you're allowed to look?
バカ。私は乙女だからいいんだ。
Hate it. I'm a girl, so it's fine. If Oko had been there, she would have lost him away for their impudence, just as she did against Flat Snark.
しかし、むごいな。
You know, I feel sorry for you.
何になるまで放っておくとは。マインスターは人の親とは言えないよ。
How could your mind so more call herself a parent since she neglected you so much? With her gloved hand, Toko ran fingers along the wound in Alice's abdomen. A flash of pain went through Alice's body. Alice had held in her screams, but she finally let out a long breath. She turned her face away in pain or shame.
ほら、もう肌も復元している。骨格、血管はおろか、内臓にまで施されたおびただしいまでの刻印だ。
The skin is regenerating already. So many crystals in the bones, veins, and even internal organs.
生後、肉体に魔術回路を付加することは諸刃の剣だ。
Having magical circuits like that from birth is a double-edged
自
sword.
分と自分を一体化させることにより栄唱の手間を省き、術者に多大な利点をもたらす魔術刻印。
The crit incantation damage is a great boon for a
しか
mage.
し、それは多ければ多いほど苦痛を伴う。青崎の刻印は腕一本分。まあ、君に比べれば少ない方だな。
But the more there are, the more pain they bring. Misaki's have a crest in one arm. We've got nothing on you, do we? The magic crest Toko referred to are the inheritance of the Azaki family passed down by their ancestors. It can only be inherited. Oko had received the ones that were meant to Toko.
しかし、それも良し悪しだな。
However, ours has its own set of drawbacks.
右腕に刻印をした青子の痛みは、残る人間の体と神秘となった右腕とが反発する程度だ。
The pain that Oko feels on the right arm is the remainder of a human body reacting to being changed into a mystic.
通常の肉体が右腕を否定し、末梢にかかる痛み。
A mundane body rejects the right arm, and that pain is the cost of its deletion.
精神的にも肉体的にも生じる幻痛は、現在にも似て拭い去ることはできない。
It causes both physical and mental phantom pain, like some original sin that can never be wiped away.
だが、ここまで来ると痛みも何もあるまい。
Still, when you've come this far, pain becomes trivial.
そもそも生きている実感はあるのか？
It makes it difficult to know if you're really alive.
自分が人間だとまだ信じている？
Do you still believe you're human?
ああ、本当に。お互い非凡な死を持つと苦労するね、アリス。
Honestly, I sympathize. We both have a harder time with such extraordinary teachers, haven't we, Alice? Toko took Alice's body in her arms. The wounds from Beowulf had mostly healed. Even so, her breathing was shallow, likely due to the pain. Toko gently held the girl's face in her hand.
マインスターには恩がある。それに、私の相手はあくまで青子一人だ。
I'm indebted to your monster mother, and my true opponent has only ever been Aoko. Time to transfer some magical energy. Don't worry about the chat. It's all according to lore. Alice's lungs pined for oxygen. Toko pressed her lips to hers. The young girl wriggled, trying to escape, but Toko held her firmly. Beneath the blue moon, the two remained frozen. Then the sight of swallowing. Something solid slid down Alice's throat. With that, she went limp and her arm fell. Concern? After setting Alice down on her side, Toko stood up.
今のは七かまどに手を加えた私の特製品だ。そう簡単に解毒はできない。魔力を流せば体の中で暴発する仕組みになっているから気をつけなさい。
I've given you a dose of my own blend of Rowan. Not easily counteracted. If you use magical energy, it will explode, so be careful.
ああ、口移しは私の趣味だから。特に気にすることはないよ。
There's another typo. Oh, and don't read too much into it. Passing things with my mouth is just something I like to do. I see, you're kinky like that. As she desperately clung to her consciousness, Alice looked up at Toko from the ground. The disgrace from the kiss was greater than the pain she felt in her body. Toko began walking away, her golden wolf in tow, neither looked back to see Alice's hateful glare.
そうそう、一つ言い忘れていた。
Ah, I almost forgot.
レオが呼び寄せた野犬たちだけどね。公園の外にまだ山ほどいるんだが、困ったことに彼らは本来何を口にするべきかを思い出している。
Remember those Miss Bo cards? Well, there's a ton of them around the park, and unfortunately they're still hungry.
レオの野生に刺激されたんだろう。獣はより強い獣に従うものだからな。
Beo's an alpha male. Seeing what Beo did to you must have really fired him up. In a roundabout way, Toko had read Alice's last rites. In nature, it was common for the weak that could no longer move to offer up their bodies to feed the strong.
じゃあ、私は行くよ。歩くことも満足にできないだろうが、無事に帰れるといいね。
Well, Alice, I think that's everything. It's a long walk back, but I hope you make it safely. With a twisted grin, the mage headed into the darkness. As the footsteps faded, the sound of growls grew louder. Alice could still barely focus her eyes. The hounds looked like monsters out of a picture book. Alice took a deep breath, her consciousness slipping away. The sky was blue, the trees were tall. Why was a graveyard? In the corner of her eye, though Alice could just make out a solitary phone booth. And the phone rang. It was the second time Sojo had heard his voice echo through the cold foyer. Only a few minutes had passed since Alice called. He wondered what she could want this time. The call persisted, determined to not leave him alone to his thoughts.
はい、クオンジュですが。
Hello, Koinji residence.
あら、その声は宗十郎くん？
Oh, is it Sojo I hear? A cheery voice. Sojo had been expecting Alice. It was Toko Ozaki, somewhere Sojo was not surprised.
そうですけど、トウコさん、暇なんですか？
Yes, it's me. How are you, Toko? He checked the time. I thought it was about midnight by now. No matter about the situation, Sojo always kept his cool. He could have trying to suppress a laugh. After taking a while to compose herself, she started talking again.
ごめんなさい。ちょっとツボ入っちゃったみたい。
My apologies. Seems you have a penchant for catching people off guard.
で、質問の開始ね。これがあんまり暇じゃないな。私も今日で終わらせる予定だから忙しいんだ。
Anyway, to answer your question, I've been very busy today, trying to finish off everything.
偶然ですね。青崎もそんなことを言ってました。
That's a coincidence. Ozaki was just talking about you.
やっぱりそうね。こういう時は本当に姉妹だなって思うわ。昔からエンジンかけるタイミングだけは一緒だったから、あのことは。
I thought you might be. At times like this, you can tell we're sisters. In fact, that's the only thing we ever had in common. Timing.
ところで、青崎はやめてって言ったでしょ。私も青崎だからくすぐったいのよね。そう言われるの。
Oh, I bet you tried to get her to stop as well. As an Ozaki, I know she didn't take that too kindly. I wouldn't. Soju realized he was probably right. Ozaki's word made more sense
ま
now.
あそんなわけだから長話をする気はないんだ。
Cutting to the chase, I don't have time to gossip.
担当直入に聞くけど。
Is Oko there? It almost sounded like she was worried about the sister's whereabouts. But the cool-headed Soju had not forgotten Toko was her enemy. Keeping Oko and Alice in mind, he decided to be evasive.
さあ、なんて答えてほしいんですか、トウコさんとしては。
Who can say? I'm not sure what answer you expect, Miss Toko. The question shifted the tone of the conversation drastically. Soju could hear Toko muttering to herself in annoyance. Soju was proving to be more quick-witted than she had anticipated. A change of tact was required.
そうね。君には何も答えてほしくないっていうのが正解かな。
I suppose not giving me an answer is probably the best course of action.
第一印象で君を無視するのは良くない気がしてたけど、やっぱり私は宗十郎君を手にかけたくはないみたい。
On first impression, I thought it'd be wise to not ignore you, but now I don't think I want to get you involved.
君はこのまま無関係でいてちょうだいね。
So, for your sake, stay out of this, okay, Sojiro? Her warning came from the heart. Sojiro responded flatly, once again not giving us any sign either way. It seemed she wanted him to stay out of this too. Even Sojiro could tell the girls were being kind in their own way. But to ask for the kindness.
じゃあ、さよならね。私は君が思ってるほど暇じゃないから。
I'll say goodbye then. I'm much busier than you think.
でも、最後に一つだけ。君を試すようで悪いんだけど、伝えておかないと一生恨まれそうだし。
Although, there's just one tiny thing. I know this is hardly fair, but I'd never forgive myself if I didn't tell you.
なんで、そうならないように、責任の半分を君に押し付けちゃおうかな。
So I'll just have to put half of the responsibility on your shoulders. Toko giggled. I'll have to associate him in the palm of her hand from the beginning.
さっきクオンジさんに会ってきたの。
I met Miss Koinji a short while
彼
ago.
女から電話があったでしょ。
She called you earlier, didn't she? The tone had not changed. She sounded as cordial as before. Even so, as soon as Soju heard Alice's name, a chill ran up his spine.
彼女、今ひどい状態なんだ。満足に歩けないどころか、体中の刻印が活性化して破裂寸前。宗十郎君が骨折の痛みを知ってるなら、うまい例えようがあるんだけどね。
Well, right now she's in a bad shape. She can barely walk, in fact. And if she uses any quest, you'll tear her to pieces. Oh, and those broken bones. Ouch.
まあ、ともかくだ。いつ気を失ってもおかしくない状態なんだけど、災難なことに怖い野犬に囲まれてるみたいなの。
At any rate, she could lose her consciousness at any time. Not great news with all those scary stray dogs around her.
個人的な意見だけど、10分もあれば骨しか残らない結末になるでしょうね。
If you ask me, she has about 10 minutes before she's nothing but a pile of bones. She spoke as if she was telling a joke. If it was a joke, it was in bad taste. However, Soju knew this was anything but. She was telling the truth. He had not heard of dogs attacking anyone in town, but the noise he had heard while on the phone with Allison made sense. Dogs, a pack of them, no doubt about it. They were surrounding their prey. Why had he not... Chet, what the hell is with these spelling mistakes this chapter? Cottoned on sooner? Why had he not caught on sooner? What do you mean? What is this translation? Like, why are we getting to, well, the end of this and it's like the translation is going shit? What is this? Squeezing the receiver in his hand, Soju cursed himself. Alice had been calling for help. Even when back into her corner, she had not wanted to involve Sojiro. Still, she needed help. The way she said his name so lightly. Where is she? He spoke abruptly. Even though he knew Toko was the enemy, he was confident she would answer him. That was the reason she called.
教えてあげてもいいけど、そうした瞬間に君は私の敵になるのよ。
I can tell you.
その覚悟はある？
But just know that the moment I do, you become my enemy. Do we have a deal? Soji realized what was happening. He was being tested. By ignoring Alice, he would be confirming that he did not want to get involved. But if he decided to save her... Tell me, where is she? Soju ignored Toko's question. Of course he was not prepared to become her enemy, but he was even less prepared to let Alice die. He had lost his ability to think sensibly, not that he was particularly good about it to begin with. Still, he wouldn't waste any time in deliberation, he would simply go with his instincts. It was one of the few times he had felt presence coming down from the mountains.
ちょっと残念だな。私は本当に君が気に入ってたのに。まあ、こうなることは分かってたけどね。
Okay, I'm a little disappointed. I didn't want to have to kill you. Then again, I thought I might just end up this way.
場所はヤシロギの森林公園。受話器の下に地図があるでしょ。この前帰りがけにしおりを挟んでおいたから、それを参考にすること。
She just wrote Yashirogi Nature Park. Checked the map into the phone. I bookmarked the page last time I was there.
繰り返すようだけど、10分持てば幸運。その後は1分ごとに奇跡の価値が上がるような状況よ。今の彼女は。
I'll say it again. You'll be lucky if you have 10 minutes. It would be a miracle if she lost a minute longer. As he listened, Soju was expressing one of irritation. Misaki and Yashirogi were one station apart. How long would it take to get to the station from the mansion? Usually just under 12 minutes. By the time we got off the train at Yashirogi, nearly 30 minutes would have passed.
地図の上じゃ近いのに、区画整理された交通手段は不便よね。けど、急げば最終の電車には間に合うわ。ここで諦めた方が賢明だけど、君はもう私の敵だから。
It looks close on the map, but transport links around here are terrible. You might be able to catch the last train, but you should cut your losses. Either way, you're my enemy now.
どっちにしたって後悔のないようにね。
Just don't regret your choice. The line went dead. Soju, not Toko, hung up the phone. He memorized the map and then made for the door. He had no time to grab his coat. He went into the snowy winter night with the clothes he had on. All that remained in the hall was a discarded map. It showed Misaki City. It was about 10 miles from the mentioned nature park. Fine if you went in a straight line, but the streets were not that forgiving. 4 inches on the map, so much further than in reality. For the first time, Soju cursed the time. Something to become speed. Alice's injuries were not limited to her abdomen. The wolf had pushed all straight to her back. Lower vertebrae and leaving both of her legs, crushing the lower vertebrae and leaving both of her legs paralyzed. The romantic rest while repairing the damage will likely take another hour before recovery. At the very least, her hard and slender arm still worked. Although after crawling along the ground to the phone booth, those two were failing her. As the crest healed her wounds, the searing heat went through her body that threatened to overwhelm her. It was as if her body was no longer her own, like she was transforming into another creature. The poison forming through her open wounds hurt emotionally more than physically. So she was used to pain, but she could not accept this disquieting feeling. Not that she had any intention to. The moment she did, would be her last. Alice wrestled with the discomfort from her abdomen in a magic rest. And with her conscience holding on by a thread, she took the phone in hand. It was unlikely Oko would be there to pick up. Even so, with the stray dogs gathering around the booth, she had to try it. It was Soju who picked up. Alice knew she was better off just hanging up, but his name still slipped out of her mouth. After pausing and fighting with herself for some time, an image of the innocent boy came to mind and she hung up. Her instincts had worn out, she could not let him get involved. And not just because he was an innocent bystander, it was more than that. To Alice, Soju appeared that day because he was merely in the wrong place at the wrong time. Only the lightest of breath spots her lips. Above her, the moon began to blur. The snow was falling again, so close yet so far away. The dogs began hurling themselves at the phone booth to the chorus of hungry snarls. Funk, funk. She took one last deep breath and closed her eyes. Glass, an unusual material for a coffin. But the girl knew, in some corner of her mind, that she'd made the right choice not to ask the boy for help. Some time passed. A peculiar sight came into view. A field of wild flowers. The clear sky was too blue. The flowers, so numerous they made the field look barren. The sight was so dazzling and beautiful she wished for it to look, she could look away. This was probably all thanks to Father Winter. The cold wind carried the scent of paradise far removed and tamed by man or beast. It was a glimpse of the fields beyond the winter, what could be forgiven for thinking about the afterlife. Come to think of it, she remembered how funerals were sad yet always beautiful. She cried. She made an incongruous whine, a sound of life. Her breathing was strained and erratic. Hollow and useless was the heart that she once used to fend off pain. It was as though she was in the space between disconnected body and mind. A crying woman and silent child. High was the sky, deep was the forest, and moving were the people. No footsteps or voices of salvation came. Who was that looking instantly up at the sky in the stillness? When she came to, Alice was going up a familiar hill. The cold night air had all but frozen her hands or feet. She shook, as she was expecting someone whose abdomen had been torn apart. Shizuki? She could barely comprehend that she was being carried up slowly up. Oh. Shiru Inuzuka. Soju had Alice on his back and was silently ascending the slope. His calm eyes seemed to be suffering from the bitter cold. He did not seem to be dressed for the time of the year. Not even a coat. His exposed neck and hands were ice cold. What are you doing here? Alice asked as slumped over his frame. She tried to move, but to no avail. The last thing she wanted to rest her entire weight on someone else. Toko called me. She said you were in trouble.
アリスは意地を張りすぎだ。あの状況で助けを呼ばないのはどうかしてる。そりゃ自分が言っても何もできなかっただろうけど。
You're almost stubborn and Narazaki, you know. Why didn't you ask me for help? Not that I could be much help, but still. Soju spoke with a scolding tone, his eyes kept firmly out. His words were directed at himself rather than the girl on his back. This doesn't concern you.
だろうね。けどこれで関係はできた。館に着いたら話してもらうぞ。
Maybe you're right, but now it does. I'm talking more back at the house. Soju focused on climbing the hill. The slope would get steeper from here to the mansion. The thought of Soju climbing the steep hill with her on the back surprised Alice. Let me down, I'm fine.
お腹をむき出しでかい。この方が少しは暖かいよ。
Your whole stomach is exposed. Like my back will keep you warm.
それにアリスは薪より軽い。山じゃこの程度は朝飯前だから気にしないでくれ。
Don't
息が
worry.
上がっているのは公園まで急いだからだし。
Don't worry, you're light enough firewood, so this is a cinch. I'm only out of breath from rushing to the park.
まあその意味はなかったんだが。
Not that I needed to hurry in the end. Why not?
俺が着いたら犬はさっさと散っていった。初めからトウコさんはそういうつもりだったんだ。
As soon as I got there, the dogs ran for the hills. I'm sure Toko knew that would happen all along.
アリスをどうにかするつもりもなければ時間制限もなかった。喜ぶべきことなんだろうけど。
She must not have meant to finish you off, which means there wasn't a time limit. I suppose I should be thankful for small mercies. Soju said dejectedly. But he was wrong. Although Toko did not want to kill Alice per se, she would not have cared if she had died. At least it was the way Alice saw it. She did not know how long it took for Soju to get to the park, but if he had not come, the phone would have collapsed and she would be dead. Alice did her best to suppress her thoughts and feelings. She felt silly at the thought of correcting him, and would matter little anyway. The thought of her trying to thank him was more painful than her open wound.
もしかして公園からずっと
So you carried me all the way from the park?
仕方ないだろ。電車終わってたんだから。タクシーを使えばよかったんだけど、あいにく持ち合わせがなくて。
I had to. The train stopped running. I should have gotten a taxi, but it didn't bring my wallet.
今日ほどお金の不便さを思い知った日はない。
Honestly, I've never felt how limiting money was until today. For the first time today, Soju let out a sigh. There was no point in taking a break. He had already traveled close to 6 miles like this. Perhaps the fatigue was getting to him. Soju was more upset with his own weakness and the difficulty of the track.
でもそれを言うならお金の大切さ
Don't you mean how important money is?
使えるものがあるのにお金がないだけで使えないんだから。それって不便って言わないか？
And what I mean is, if there's something you can only use if you have money, isn't that incredibly limiting? The innocence of his question made Alice briefly forget her pain. She too felt distant from the real world. But compared to the boy carrying her, she felt like a regular citizen.
何かあなたらしいわ
That's just like you to say. Alice smiled to herself. As Alice rested her hand, something soft touched her cheek. The color Oko had given him.
館に着いたら着替えるんだ。お腹の血も拭って。落ち着いたら今で話そう。
Once we get back, you should change and clean up. When you're ready, we can talk in the drawing
ト
room.
ウコさんに言わせれば、俺もこれで敵らしいから。
Toku sees me as her enemy too now. With those words hanging in the air, they reached the top of the hill. The gate in the woods stood before them, beyond it illuminated by the pale moonlight to the mansion. Looking up at it, the girl felt a little disappointed. A natural reaction, yet. She could not place where her sadness was coming from. Once they entered the mansion, Alice stood off Soju's back and walked towards the west wing. The west wing was her domain. However, only after a few steps she collapsed on the floor. Alice! Soju rushed over to her, but she raised her hand. Her gesture told him he was not to come closer. He stopped in his tracks, concerned look on his face. Her pale skin gleamed with sweat, an expression uncharacteristically strained.
平気部屋に戻るぐらいの力は戻ったわ服を繕ってくるからあなたはここにいて
I'm fine. I can make it to my room on my own. Stay here. I'm going to mount my clothes.
すぐに戻ってくるからそうしたら
I'll be back shortly, and then... The pained look in Alice's eyes told Soju they would talk later. He knew he could not stop her. Soju reminded himself that she was the one in pain, not him.
それじゃあ、戻ってきたら話を聞かせてくれ。
Alright then. Tell me everything when you come back. Alice took a deep breath before slowly dissipating between the corridor. An eventful 5 minutes passed. Alice returned wearing a fresh set of black clothes. Her complexion remained pallid. With a small sigh, she carefully leaned against a pillar in the foyer and slid down until she was sitting.
アリス、傷が痛むなら無理せず横になった方がいい。
Alice, if you're in pain, you should lie down. Soju sat across from her on the cold floor.
傷はもう痛まないわ横になる必要もない
I'm not in pain anymore, so I don't need to lie
この
down.
体の異常は七かまどを飲まされたせいだからどうあっても治らないも
I was forced to swallow a Rowan, so my body can't heal
じゃ
completely.
あせめて毛布とか。
At least let me get a blanket for you.
のいいから気遣いはしないでここなら寒さも関係ないから
No, if I stay here, the cold won't bother me. She seemed to be telling the truth. Soju remembered Oka telling him that as long as Alice is inside the mansion, she would be comfortable.
あったかいのならいい。
Okay, as long as you are.
それで、七かまどっていうのは。
So, what's this Rowan thing?
薬草の一種よ7回かまどで焼いても燃え残ることから付けられた名前で紅葉は魔除け
It's kind of a medicinal herb. It gets its name from what's left in the cinders after it's burned 7 times in the stove, and it's used as a ward against spirits.
普通の人には良くない程度だけど、私や青子には少し厄介ね。体内での魔力生成そのものに抵抗されてしまうから手の打ちようがない。
It's not good for regular people. It's not good for regular people, but for me and Oko it's worse. Once it's in our bodies, it reacts badly to the production of magical energy, and there's nothing we can do but wait it out. So it's poison.
いえ、本来は薬草よ。
Now, like I said, it was originally used in medicine. The opposite of medicine is poison.
今は傷を治すために魔力を使っているから苦しいけど、傷が完治すればおとなしくなるわ。魔術さえ使わなければ七かまども反応しないから。
I'm using magical energy to heal right now, so I'm having to fight it. But once I'm fully healed, I'll be fine, as long as I don't use magecraft.
単純な話、七かまどを消化するまで私は役には立たないだけ。
Basically, I won't be of any use until I fully digest it. Alice passed. She decided not to say how many days that would take.
別にしずきくんが心配することじゃないわ。
Anyway, it's nothing you need to worry about.
血が流れる程度の痛みだから。
I can manage the pain, it's just a result of my circulation. She worked hard to keep her tone calm. Oak had barely blinked when she was struck in the back, so May just must have an unusual high pain threshold. Sojo was surprised and bewildered by what she said. If wounds didn't count as long as the pain wasn't too bad, then nothing would hurt except an injury that killed you.
分かった。
People die when they're killed.
話をするのは明日にしよう。今日はとにかく体を休めてほしい。
Fine, let's talk tomorrow. For now, I want you to
明
rest.
日になっても
There won't be
私
any
の
better
容体
then.
は変わらないけど、
いいんだ、それでも。アリスはもっと体を大事にしてくれ。
Doesn't matter. You need to take better care of yourself. He stood up.
部屋まで送るよ。それとも今で休むか？西館には入ったことはないから、アリスの部屋もわからないし。
I'll take you to your room. Oh, how about the drawing room? I've never been to the West Wing, so I don't know where your room
こ
is.
こでいいわ。青子を待たなくちゃいけないから。
I'm fine here. I need to be here when Naoko comes back. Where's she been in all this? Alice looked up at the night of that skylight. The moonlight illuminated her pained face. The foyer looked like it belonged to a rundown castle. Only the moon and Alice seemed more vivid in reality. Where did the strength come from? Sojo stared at her. Without understanding the significance of Alice's gaze, he turned his gaze to the night sky, powerless as it was. For the third time that night, the silence was broken by the sound of the phone ringing. Before Sojo could move, a thin shadow bolted across the foyer. By the time he had realized it was the weakened Alice, she had already taken the receiver in her hand.
青子、
Okay. It was the first time Sojo had heard Alice sound concerned. Her tone was infinitely graver than when she was enduring her own pain. Alice's question received only a short response from the voice on the other end. It was a voice more frail than Alice's, like a flickering flame about to turn to smoke.
ごめん、やられた。
Sorry, it got me. The phone was far from Sojo's ears, but the words he picked up were very unlike her. Despite saying so little, no, because she said so little, the weight of Hogan's defeat struck Sojo hard. Alice silently set the receiver down. Only moments before, her body had been fighting the pain, now it felt stronger than ever. It was like a scarecrow transforming into a beautiful stone statue. Seeing this, Sojo finally understood. Alice's expression when she looked at the moon had come from her trying to accept an immutable reality. Oh shit, title drop. Part 1, huh? Oh boy. That's an abrupt ending to the chapter. But I guess yeah, I guess we're going to switch to Aoka's perspective next then. Yeah, I'm just kind of assuming that there was 2 chapters left, and if you're going to name the title after that. Well, yeah, I guess we'll find it out next time. I guess we'll find it out next time. Actually, I need to check something. I don't think it was under here. There's new stuff here. Awful. "7 days of spinning." What do you mean spinning? This is like extra stuff. Might be extra stuff. Just checking what all is all here actually. Is this all the intro stuff? Yes, it checks out. But alright, that's going to be it for today. Quite shorter than yesterday. But I'm not going to do another chapter, because God knows how long that's going to be. I don't want to risk running into a 3-hour chapter again, like back with that amusement park affair. So that's going to be it for Witch for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time, and well, yeah, I guess we're getting close to the end then. Alright, bye bye.